G'day legends, Kiive Audio have just released 3 new plugins as part of an Audioscape collection. We have the Golden 58 Tube Preamp, the Audioscape V-Comp, and the XL305 Reverberation System. 3 awesome plugins based off of 3 awesome pieces of gear. And if after you watch this demonstration and you want to try these plugins out or you want to buy one for yourself, use the link in the description below. Using that link does help support this channel, as a small commission does come back from any sale that is made by using that link. So there's a lot to cover, so let's just dive straight into it. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at the Golden 58 Tube Preamp. We're going to try this out on some drums. I'm going to show you what it does. The very first switch we see is the line and mic switch. This is the biggest difference that you're going to hear on this plugin, is switching between these two things. So you can hear as we pushed it all the way to the right, it got a little bit saturated in a nice pleasing way. Now let's check it out on the mic setting. So pretty cool. You can get it really crunchy and saturated sounding. Could be great on a parallel send, blended in with your drums if you want to add a little bit of grit. One thing that might be cool to see on here is a mix knob, so you could drive this and then do a parallel blend with it. So you can hear when we change it from full to voice that the low end sounds a little bit tighter. There does seem to be a little bit of a dip in the lows, which makes it sound overall a little bit tighter and a little bit more controlled. And it would also help give things like vocals or any sort of instrument that needs a little bit of push to come forward and stand out a bit more. That would be a good setting to run it in. Now we've got normal and auto gain. Auto gain just means that as we boost this volume, we don't get any extra volume added. So it's always great to have that option. The ability to flip the polarity, which is great if you need to check the phase of sounds. You can unlink the left and the right. So if you've got this on a stereo channel like we do right now on the drums, we could push one side harder. So if you want to create a bit of an interesting effect or stereo image, that could be a cool way of doing it. Oversampling up to 16 times. We've got a trim. Then there's also a bias knob here, which sort of manipulates the sound of the tube. So loads of flavor and loads of character. Let's quickly test it on a vocal. So with this vocal, I want to add a little bit of saturation and a bit of drive to it. So let's have a listen to it and then we'll start blending this effect in. So the Golden 58 is currently off.
I'm so done playing your head games. I'm so done playing your head games. Go and find someone new to fuck up the way you do. I'm so
you can hear it really gives it that tube sound, like tubes being driven. Just adds a whole lot of character. It adds a little bit of edge to the vocal too, as well as kind of thickens up those low mids a little bit as well. Sounds really great. Let's hear it in the context of the mix.
I'm so
That sounds awesome. Just helps the vocal cut through in a really nice way. And a super easy way just to add some grit to your vocals that isn't harsh and it doesn't sound too out of control. Just a really nice saturation to your vocal sound. Okay, so let's take a look at the V-Comp now on our vocal. So this thing adds a ton of character. We've got 2 modes, modern and vintage. We can drive it with the input and then control our output over here. We have our recovery time, which is basically the release of the compressor. And then we've got 4 modes, off, single, double, triple. When we have it in off mode, It just runs through the transformers and the overall tone of the compressor. So this is great if you don't want to add any compression, you just want to take the sound of the varying mu. Or otherwise, there's 3 modes of compression to listen through. Single is the most gentle, transparent sound, although none of this is very transparent, but as you move through the double and triple, it adds even more color. And we also have a mix knob up the top here, which is great for getting that perfect blend, as well as oversampling, total harmonic distortion, sidechain filter, auto gain, lots of good stuff.
Why did I come here? It's never different, yeah, it always stays the same. Why did I come here? To listen to lies I don't believe anyway. And if you loved me, would you use my skin the way you do? I don't think so. And if you loved me, would it be this hard to choose? I don't think so.
It just adds such a richness to the vocal, which sounds really nice, particularly if you're chasing a bit of a vibey vocal sound, not super clean. This is a great way of achieving that sort of tone. Now, cool thing, this little switch here, the drive and the stock button, basically when you have it in drive mode, it adds an extra 5 dB boost after the input section. So once you've set this level running into your input transformers, then it adds an extra 5 dB boost into the compression circuit so you can hit it a little bit harder. And that's coming straight from the Audioscape website about how this piece of gear works, which is a cool feature, being able to get that input just where you want it, but then drive the compression harder. It's a nice touch. We've got the vintage mode.
Why did I come here? It's never different, yeah, it always stays the same. Why did I come here? To listen to lies I don't believe anyway. And if you loved me, would you use my skin the way you do? I don't think so.
The vintage sounds really nice and smooth. The modern sound has a bit more edge and is a little bit more upfront and in your face. As you can imagine with modern sounds, we want it all loud and upfront. But the vintage sound just has a nice, smooth, silky sound about it. Now this seems like the kind of compressor we should put on the bass. I think that sounds pretty cool. Definitely adds some nice saturation to it and helps it stand out in the mix a little bit better, particularly like it on double mode. Okay, and lastly, let's check out the XL305R. Okay, let's add some reverb to our vocals. Have a listen to what this sounds like.
I'm so done playing your head games. I'm so done playing your head games. Go and find someone.
It's a pretty nice sounding reverb straight off the get-go. Now we've got a couple little options up the top here. We've got a width knob, which I pushed to 142% just to make it sound nice and wide and spacious. And then we also have a pre-delay knob. Having a bit of pre-delay can be really good in a big, dense mix to help the clarity remain. Got a mix knob here if you're going to put it directly on a sound. At the moment we have it on a send, so we're going to leave it on 100% wet. You can drive the input if you want. And there's also a couple of set EQ options here. So the first one, 150 Hertz, and then we've got 600 Hertz, 2K, and then 6K.
I'm so done playing your head games. I'm so done playing your head games. Go and find someone new to fuck up the
So some well thought out EQ points for being able to shape the sound. And if you have it on a send, you can always add an EQ afterwards and shape it even further. We could unlink the channels, play with the EQ a little different on each side and create a bit more stereo image. Pretty interesting. And in the mix, that will add a little bit of extra width by having slight differences in the left and the right. I think that sounds really nice. Now we hit this switch here, we go over to the XL305, and this gives us a bit of a different flavor of reverb.
I'm so done playing your head games. I'm so done.
You can see we're hitting this pretty hot, and that does add a little bit of drive to it as well. You can always push the input, but I'm actually already hitting it kind of hard and getting a little bit of extra saturation within the reverb. So pretty cool that you can drive the reverb, add a little bit of grit to it as well. And another interesting feature is there's a mono return. So you can switch the reverb into mono, and you can also hit this mono drive switch to add a little bit of extra drive to it.
Why did I come here? It's never different, yeah, it always stays the same.
So that's pretty cool. If you don't want the reverb to take up a huge amount of space in the mix, you can change it into mono right here on the plugin, as well as add a little bit of extra saturation to it. Let's hear it on the electric guitar.
I got the way you do. I'm so done. I'm so.
Really cool vibe, really nice sounding reverb. So one thing that is interesting about this reverb plugin is you cannot change the length or the decay of the reverb. It has one particular sound. We all have plenty of reverbs where we can choose different decays and length times. This is just one particular really nice sounding reverb that if you want that flavor, you just reach for this plugin and it's there ready to go.
Why did I come here to look in the eyes of a lover that'll never see me?
So there you go, guys. 3 new awesome Audioscape plugins from Kiive Audio. Make sure you use that link in the description below if you want to try these out or if you decide to buy a copy of it. Again, it's just an awesome way of showing your support to this channel. If you want to support this channel in another way, check out the link to my website in the description below. Got a bunch of drum samples and mixing courses. Grabbing any of those is a massive support. And if you want to check out another awesome plugin from Kiive Audio, check out this next video coming up where we take a look at the Tube KC1.
I'm so